analyzing Hinduism and Shudras. So a very popular narrative has been pushed by some specific ideologies from past hundred of years that Hinduism had discriminated against Shudras. So let's see if that thing is really true or just another means to derail and weaken that another dharma. First, we look at what Vedas say. The Vedas, as you know, are the most prominent and main text of Hinduism. So on your screen, you are seeing a verse from Shukla Yajurveda, in which God clearly states that Vedic knowledge is meant for everyone, irrespective of the one of that individual. You can see the exact shlok and verse number, and the translation has also been attached. Also, one more thing most people point out is that Shudras are termed as feet in some religious texts, hence they are inferior. But that is a completely wrong interpretation of what the text is really trying to imply. So basically, Shudras did the foundational work, like making houses, temples, other structures, making chariots, pottery, metallurgy, etc., etc. So basically, they were providing the foundation for the civilization, for the whole kingdom. And that's why feet is a metaphor. Just like feet are what our body stands upon, in the same way, upon the Shudras, the kingdom used to stood upon. Now let's look at what the Sri Rudram says. So Sri Rudram is a Vedic hymn found in the Krishna Yajurveda. So the Sri Rudram clearly states that the divine is present in every being, irrespective of the one gender. The divine is present in every natural element. It explicitly contains verses which respect the divine present in working class. Some of the verses you would be seeing on your screen, like there are verses which salute the carpenters, architects, chariot makers. There are celebrations to the potters and to the blacksmith, metallurgists, etc. So basically, all these verses are trying to imply that the divine is present in every working class. Does not matter the one, does not matter the money, the power, nothing matters. The divine is present in every aspect of nature. Now, let's talk about what Smritis and commentaries say. So, as you know, Smritis and commentaries came much later after the Vedas, and they tend to have some sort of inclination towards one ideology. Okay, so yeah, Smritis and commentaries like Dharmashastras, Manusmriti, etc., they used to somewhat bar Shudras from Vedic knowledge. But all other religious texts like Puranas, Upanishads were still open for them. The primary reason for barring them from Vedic knowledge seems to be done in order to prevent adulteration in Vedas. Like Vedas are said to be almost 25 to 300, 3,000 years old, and still they are found to be almost negligibly adulterated. So maybe that was one of the main reasons, and also it was very difficult for Shudras to manage the routine, like doing the work and then doing like three sandhyas are mandatory for everyone who is a Dvij, like who has gone through the Upayan Sanskar, and of course Shudras were not getting that much time. Now, some people argue that Shudras were not allowed to study in Gurukuls, which again is far from truth. Just think logically for a second. If Shudras were building magnificent temples and forts, chariots, weapons, household items, etc. back then, how were they doing it without knowledge of geometry, shapes, force estimation, etc.? But even if we search through records, then Thomas Munro's surveys are the main evidences that Shudras were indeed not prohibited from Gurukuls. So Thomas Munro was basically a governor in Madras, and the survey was conducted between 1820 to 1825, and it was pre-colonial. It was strictly pre-colonial, or schools which were not under British control. In simple terms, it was survey which looked upon the caste representation of students in Gurukuls. So as you can clearly see the percentages of Shudras and the castes are at a good number, at a very high percentage, and are even more than the Brahmins themselves. The other castes might include Avarnas, which did not come under any one, etc. So, so that's the thing. Of course, casteism is a problem, but we have to understand that it's a social construct and not a religious construct. And such things are present all over the world. Sometimes discrimination happens due to the power differences. Sometimes it's based on the money differences, or somewhere it becomes racism due to color. Of course, such discrimination needs to be stopped. But associating and terming something as a religious construct, even when it is not a religious construct, that's a big problem, and we need to counter that thing. And of course, that's what now. Thank you.